Alrighty, I'm gonna get right to the chase. Ava Unit 1 versus Gundam Wing is surprisingly close, and there are many variables and factors into this. And if you guys want to see that, make sure to keep watching the video. And if you guys hopefully want to see more videos like this, make sure to like and subscribe and voice your opinions, because after all, I can't actually hear them. I am relatively small. Anyway, let's move on to Ava Unit 1. Alrighty, breaking down Eva Unit 1 is a not so simple task. However, thankfully, I am pulling from multiple resources today. So, let's start off with the most basic level of scaling, and that is through the use of the N2 mine explosion. It came out to around 1.92 gigatons of TNT, or large mountain level. Now, Ava's obviously scaled this pretty casually, as the first angel seen on screen tanked it and then kept moving. And the Avas were able to overpower it. It's also notable to state that Shinji was probably at his worst in the Ava cockpit at the time while fighting this angel. So, and since sync rates directly correlate to offensive and defensive power through the use of the AT field, it means that, relatively speaking, this is most likely the low end. However, most other feats require external forces or for Shinji to enter his awakened forms. Now, going over some of the others, it is possible for him to use the Spear of Longinus, which is a multi-continental attack. However, that requires an external weapon that he doesn't often use, and it was only really used through extreme methods in the fourth movie in the Rebuild series, so it's not really a factor. However, what is a factor in both the Rebuilds and Standard Issue series is Shinji awakening and causing lots and lots of problems. Now, getting into the nitty-gritty, in the end of Evangelion, Lilith Ray was able to produce and exist with 2 on the dot zetatons of energy, or small planet level. However, I'm sorry to say this, I cannot show the clip. If any of you are wondering why, end of Evangelion. So yeah, that will not be happening, and I hate this movie. that's not true, but for scaling reasons, I cannot show that on screen. However, I can actually scale the awakening for Ava Unit 1 in the Rebuild films, and through the use of Shinji the first time he awakened, or when he triggered the impact, he was able to basically terraform the entire Earth seemingly simultaneously, which would also most likely be a multi-continental feat. So yeah, normal Shinji is only around large mountain level. However, awakened Shinji is anywhere from multi-continental to small planetary, which is quite insane. Anyway, getting into speed, this is the crazy one, where these are giant robots, and for some reason someone had the genius idea to make them move massively hypersonic, whether it be reacting and dodging pallet guns, which came out to around Mach 14.8, or throwing the Spear of Longinus, which is massively hypersonic. And a lot of you remember the iconic scene as Rey threw the spear to the moon, and it was able to reach out of the atmosphere in just a few seconds. Well, that came out to clock in relativistic to the speed of light. Shinji not only scales to this, but since he is a better pilot than Asuka is, with better sync waves, it is almost entirely assumed, due to the end of Evangelion, where Asuka was even able to block a spear coming down at that velocity, meaning that Shinji, the better, stronger, faster pilot, would be able to perform a very similar feat. And keep in mind, that was base Asuka, meaning that base Shinji would also be able to provide this feat. And then Awakening should add an additional stat boost, however, there is no multiplier for that ever. And to be honest, it's a giant robot going berserk, so no one has any reason to make it a multiplier. It's not Super Saiyan. But it is safe to say that it will get stronger upon further inspection. So, ending off, we have a relativistic Shinji in Ava Unit 1, and he might be able to blow up anywhere from a large mountain in base to a small planet in Awakening. But we're going to have to compare that to the Gundam Wing and see how it compares. So, getting into the general stats of the Gundam Wing and its pilot, Hero. I'm sorry, I'm bad. I'm bad with names. You know me by now. Anyway, so getting into it, we have obviously building level attacks as they're able to withstand, as all Gundams are pretty much able to withstand attacks from tanks, planes, jets, and similar feats of strength. Correct? However, it is important to bring out that eventually they do get the mobile suits get upgraded into more powerful versions of themselves and get new weapons. This new weapon is called the Twin Buster, and now the Twin Buster was able to vaporize a space colony, and that has been calculated to be around small country level. It is important to recognize that it is a weapon and can be lost. However, it is fair to say that this is standard issue equipment for the Wing Gundam, as it is carried in most iterations and normally has some way of carrying out its duties even while the wing is preoccupied. And that's just to say that some way, somehow, it's going to get to the battlefield, so might as well count it in anyway. Anywho, getting into speed, this is the interesting one. The wing is actually a little bit slower than the Ava. Typically ranges from massively hypersonic by scaling to the colony beams, or sub-relativistic, basically after crossing a massive amount of distance in a short amount of time. To be precise, 4 seconds. However, both of these only get up to relatively small ends of sub-relativistic, meaning that they are indeed slower than our further competitor, which is quite odd considering that they are indeed stronger. However, it's, obviously a interesting matchup in and of itself. However, I am here today to find out who is winning. So, after looking at these two characters' arsenals and feats performed, I think I have come to an answer. So, it is very imperative that we state Shinji and his base is not doing anything to the Gundam Wing. However, the Gundam Wing is not doing anything to Ava Unit 1. It's imperative we make this obvious assumption. And now, there's a assumption that since the recoil of the Twin Buster Rifle affects the unit, that would also put their durability at small country level. I am not inclined to agree. After all, it is a secondary weapon, therefore the total attack potency would not be consistent with the actual unit of itself, but I can see that argument. However, even with that small argument, then you just get into the multi-continental to planetary Ava Unit 1 feats, and on top of that, Ava Unit 1 notably has a speed advantage, and this can just generally be seen, even witnessed, as they are reacting to lasers on a more consistent basis. And while they obviously have lost to lasers. I can think of the cube, the cube angel as a great example. It is imperative to know that they were relatively off guard and not really understanding what was going on. So, it's safe to say that they're not really in the best of shape. However, I do notably want to state that if Unit 1 is dealt with rather quickly, then it is exactly that, rather quickly. Unit 1 does not have the capacity to continuously fight unless it is in an awakened state, meaning that there is a chance for the Gundam to win. However, it is more than likely an abnormality in this situation. But after all the evidence is laid out, I would like to hear what you guys have to say. After all, I don't hear people scale Ava that often, and I certainly do not hear people scale Gundam Wing. So, if you would like to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment in below. That way it boosts the algorithm, and then hopefully you get more content and I get more views. And it's a win-win. Anyway, speaking of win-win, let's both go get some sleep. So have a good night, folks, and I will see you later.